New at 5, Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb spoke on camera today about the controversial hate crimes bill just a week after it was signed into law. The hate crimes bill took a long path in the legislature as it started in the Senate. Then it was gutted in dramatic fashion. Eventually, members of the Indiana House changed a bill to include aggravated Senate reference to a current Indiana law. But opponents of the new law have criticized it because it doesn't explicitly cover age, sex, or gender identity. Supporters say it covers everybody, even if their characteristic isn't listed.
It does send the message to the world that the state of Indiana is, in fact, what we all know it to be, and that is a state full of Hoosier hospitality, a welcoming state, and a state that will protect, to the greatest extent of the law, will protect victims who have been targeted for some bias.
The Anti-Defamation League has said the current law is not enough to get Indiana off the list of states without a hate crimes law. The ADL said it is too vague.
Still ahead at 5:30 on RTV6. You know you should be eating healthy, but should your pets? Our Scripps team finds out if the cost of fresh and raw pet food is actually worth it. What you need to know about that dog food trend.
And just ahead here at 5, a new push to help single mothers excel at college campuses in Indiana. The school's taking part in this uplifting endeavor. That's next. You're watching RTV6. Covering the State House tonight, there are significant changes to a bill that would help keep the Pacers in Indy long term and possibly get Indy 11 a new soccer stadium. Today, the House Ways and Means Committee approved a bill providing tax money to the Capital Improvement Board of Indianapolis to help pay for upgrades to Bankers Life Fieldhouse. It also allows Indy 11 to move forward with plans for a complex in Broad Ripple that would include a soccer stadium. But it removes a requirement from the Senate's version of the bill that requires the team to be part of Major League Soccer to get stadium funding. A proposal that would make it illegal for Indiana fertility doctors to use their own sperm to inseminate patients without their knowledge has moved forward at the State House. Senate Bill 174 unanimously passed the House today. Indianapolis fertility doctor Donald Klein fathered at least 40 children after using his own sperm in the 1970s and 1980s to inseminate his patients. In 2016, Klein was only prosecuted for obstruction of justice. The bill now has one last vote in the Senate before it heads to the governor's desk for his signature. Klein would not face any new charges if this bill passes.
A Northeast Side apartment complex, which has been abandoned for years, could be one step closer to getting demolished. Tonight, the Indianapolis City County Council will discuss a proposal to allocate more than $1.2 million to demolish the Oak Tree apartment complex. There is one potential holdup in the Oak Tree plans. On the same proposal as the funding for the demolition is a proposal to spend about $800,000 on new vehicles for the Indianapolis Department of Business and Neighborhood Services. Republicans on the council have disagreed with the plan for new vehicles and may vote against the whole proposal. The council meets at 7 p.m. tonight.
Ivy Tech Community College is one of 4 community colleges across the country chosen for a push to boost single mothers' college success rates. The national nonprofit Education Design Lab will oversee a structured process under which Ivy Tech and 3 other schools will design and implement programs to help improve single mothers' success rates in school. Each institution will launch a pilot effort to test strategies for single mothers' academic success over 6 years. Ivy Tech will launch its pilot effort at the Indianapolis, Muncie, Lafayette, and Sellersburg campuses. Next season, other players are going to have to step up and make big buckets for the Purdue men's basketball team. That's because junior guard Carson Edwards announced that he will enter the NBA draft and will hire an agent. That means his Purdue playing career is over. During the NCAA tournament, Edwards was compared to NBA superstar Steph Curry, and now Edwards will face the real test, actually playing in the NBA. And Purdue basketball coach Matt Painter tweeted this today. Congrats, Carson Edwards. You deserve this. Excited to watch your future in the NBA.
2 major changes at the White House. The director of the Secret Service is out, and so is Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen. Nielsen is being blamed for what is happening at the southern border. Her resignation comes just 2 days after she joined the president on a visit to the border. According to a source close to Nielsen, the president held her personally responsible for the spike in people crossing illegally into the United States. That's a major focus for the president, who repeatedly threatened to close the U.S.-Mexico border.
The system is full. Can't take you anymore.
Nielsen's 16-month tenure riddled with controversy, most notably over the administration's zero-tolerance policy, which separated thousands of migrant children from their families. The president has named U.S. Customs and Border Protection Commissioner Kevin McKeelan as Nielsen's temporary replacement. And U.S. Secretary of Secret Service Director Randolph Tex Ailes is leaving the Trump administration. Two White House officials say Ailes' departure stems from a personality conflict within the agency. They said it is not related to Nielsen's resignation and a recent security breach at the president's private club in Florida. President Trump has picked a career Secret Service official, James Murray, to take over as Secret Service Director. Murray will assume the role next month.
New at 5, the IRS expects a rush of last-minute filing this year because of all the recent tax law changes. Working for you, our John Matteries shows us the most asked tax questions that might trip you up in these final days so you don't waste your money.
We're in the final week before the 2019 tax deadline. With all the changes to tax laws this year, a lot of taxpayers still have a lot of questions and not much time left to get it all resolved. It's tough to think about taxes on a beautiful spring day. Have you filed your taxes yet this year?
Not yet.
Not yet, huh?
No, not yet.
You're a last-minute filer?
Yes, we are.
But the IRS says don't wait much longer because a whole lot has changed this year. So have taxpayers been confused by this year's changes to the tax law? Well, the IRS tells us that based on the number of calls and inquiries to its online help center it's received, a lot of people have a lot of questions. We sat down with the IRS's Luis Garcia and William Chung for answers to the biggest concerns they're hearing.
When do I get my refund?
So question 1, are refunds delayed due to the government shutdown? Garcia says some were at first, but now most people will get their refunds in 2 weeks. Question 2, is it true most people are getting smaller refunds due to the new tax law?
We've got some people this year, because of the tax law changes, that they unexpectedly owe.
But he says on average refunds are down just slightly from last year. Question 3, will the IRS ever call you saying you're behind on your taxes? No, those are all scams.
If you get those phone calls, the best thing for you to do is just go ahead and hang up.
Question 4, can you still file free? Yes.
If you make less than $54,000 a year, you qualify for this program.
But you need to go through the IRS Free File website, not a private tax preparer's website where you may be charged. And finally, can IRS agents be good guys? Sure. And best of all, no one in our newsroom got audited or arrested. The good news is that anyone can get an automatic 6-month extension, giving you more time to figure things out. Just remember, you must file the extension form by Monday, April 15th, so you don't waste your money. I'm John Matteries for RTV6.
Time now for your Storm Team 6 forecast. What a great day it was to get outside, whatever you had to do.
It was so great. We have Alyssa Donovan joining us, and she's filling in for Kevin. So welcome to the night shift, Alyssa.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy that I have some good weather to report tonight.
Right, you come with good news.
Yes, I have some good news, at least for the start of the week, and then we do kind of go downhill as we go through the next few days here. But here's a look at our weather headlines. Right now, we are going to see pleasant and seasonal weather this evening, overnight, and throughout the day tomorrow. That's going to stick with us for most of Tuesday and into most of Wednesday before we see some changes move in Wednesday evening. That's when we have some showers moving in with a warm front, and then we do have an active weather pattern set up. That's going to stick with us through Friday. So we do have some chances of showers nearly every day as we head into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then by Saturday night, more showers. Right now, 71 degrees. Winds out of the northwest at 8 miles per hour, and you can see we have those light cumulus clouds out there. We started out a little gloomy this morning, but things have cleared out and warmed way up. We're about 10 degrees above average for this time of year. Here's a look at our satellite and radar. We have those clouds clearing out from the north to the south, and that's because we have a cold front that's passing through tonight. That's going to continue to clear out a lot of our cloud coverage. It's going to bring us some drier conditions. Now, to the south of us, we do have a few stray showers popping up just to the south of Seymour right now, and just to the east of Greensburg, and that's because we just have some lingering instability in the atmosphere from that cold front that passed through this morning. That's going to stick with us until about sunset, so southern areas you could see some of those pop-up stray showers yet. If anything, it will be light and very quick, and then those chances will clear out as we head into sunset. Temperatures today are going to be into the 50s overnight. We have high pressure building in as this cold front pushes through. That's going to clear us out and dry us out as we head through our Tuesday, and then by Wednesday afternoon and evening, that's when we have a warm front that's setting up to move through. As it does, it'll bring us some quick showers Wednesday afternoon, and then we have a low pressure system that's setting up in the west. That's going to start passing through as we head into Thursday. Now that warm front's going to warm us way up on Thursday. Temperatures will be into the 70s. That means we have the possibility of some convection as that passes through on Thursday afternoon and evening, so we could see some thunderstorms, and then those showers will linger into your Friday morning. Overnight tonight, temperatures will drop into the 50s, and then we'll be into the low 40s to the north. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast, tomorrow's going to be the day to get outside. Temperatures will be into the 60s with sunshine throughout the day, and then we cool off a little bit on Wednesday. By Wednesday afternoon and evening, that's when we have the potential of some showers. More showers Thursday night.
Tomorrow's the day to get outside.
Tomorrow's the day to get outside.
Yeah, want to do news outside?
All
I guess
right, yeah.
what everybody else does, right?
Noted. Okay.
Thanks, baby, not even 2 pounds at birth. No one visited her for 5 months in the hospital, but a chance meeting in a hallway changed 2 lives in an instant. The incredible story next.
Working for you.
Welcome back. You're watching the news at 5 on RTV6. An incredible story of love that all started in the hallways of a hospital.
Yeah, 2-year-old Giselle Smith now lives in a world full of love. When she was born, she weighed less than 2 pounds. Look at her. Giselle needed a feeding tube and special care, but her birth parents couldn't care for her, so she was in state custody.
And for 5 months, not a single person visited baby Giselle in the hospital. Then a chance encounter changed everything.
This little girl in the stroller crossed my path, and I said, "Who is that beautiful little angel?" And the nurse said, "This is Giselle." That was the moment where I realized this was meant to be.
That's Liz Smith, the director of nursing at Franciscan Children's Hospital in Boston. Liz had been trying unsuccessfully to start a family of her own. Liz knew this could be the second chance at a family that she and Giselle both needed, so she took in the baby as her foster daughter, knowing it might not be forever.
But then Liz got the news that she and Giselle had been waiting for, her adoption finalized. Liz getting to hear the one word she always hoped for.
She calls me Mama or Mom.
No, Mama.
Oh, Mama, sorry. She calls me Mama.
Very sweet. And the story proves that sometimes the best medicine you could ever have is love.
I'm glad to see those two
very
together.
Sweet story.
Yeah. All new at 6 p.m. here on RTV6. A man collapses on the Monon Trail. He's alive tonight because of a Good Samaritan, but experts say there's a fear factor that needs to be addressed.
But first on the Now Indy, some Indianapolis roads are littered with trash, so much so it's become an unsightly problem in a city that aims to attract conventions and visitors. The plan to clean our streets. You're watching RTV6.
$2 each. Rallies and checkers. Fast foodies know the deal.
Topping our lineup here in the Now, there's a new proposal to directly regulate social media companies, but it is raising a question if we just should be quitting social media with all the concerns about it. And fresh and raw pet foods, that's really the newest trend. So we want to know if it's really actually worth making the switch for your dog, and do the possible benefits outweigh the added cost. And with baby boomers living longer, a growing number of businesses are starting to offer long-term care insurance to their workers. What this coverage could mean for you or someone in your family.
Thank you, Chris. This is the Now Indy on RTV6. I'm Amanda Starantino. Indianapolis draws in millions of people each year, but some areas such as I-65 near Fletcher Avenue in downtown Indy seem to be littered with trash. Our Elena Martella joins us with an effort. The Indiana Department of Transportation will soon begin to help clean up these roadways.
Beginning next week is INDOT's annual Trash Bash, which this year is extended to 15 days. And by the looks of our interstates, those extra days are needed. If you're driving on I-65 near Fletcher Avenue, you'll see a lot more than only cars.
It just makes you wonder why people are so lazy and keep throwing garbage out the windows.
From plastic cups to food wrappers, gasoline containers, and tires, the shoulders of the highway littered in trash are nothing short of eyesores.
When you're driving into town and you see garbage on the side of the road, you think, what kind of a pigsty am I coming into?
INDOT hopes to spruce up the interstates with Trash Bash when INDOT crews and volunteers work to pick up the litter. Last year, the effort lasted 2 days and just under 3,500 bags of trash were collected. This year, the effort is extended to 15 days. And INDOT says they hope more people can find time to help, thus increasing productivity.
There's probably a lot of people that have time on their hands that you could throw a yellow vest on and put on the side of the road and pick up garbage.
But there is an easier fix to the trash troubles.
Hey, how about this? Throw out your garbage when you're going to the gas station. Let's try that out for a change.
Simple as that. From Indianapolis, Elena Martella, RTV6.
Thank you, Elena. INDOT's Trash Bash begins 1 week from today. If you or your organization wish to help in these efforts, search this story on our RTV6 app or on the IndyChannel.com, and we will show you how you can get involved. Alyssa.
And we have a gorgeous afternoon today. Temperatures climbed into the 70s, and you can see we have partly cloudy skies out there, just some light cumulus clouds hanging out. Temperatures today are going to continue to stay a little bit above average. We're about 10 degrees above average right now in Indianapolis, 71 degrees. You can see we have those partly cloudy skies. Kokomo at 70 and Bloomington at 73 with light winds. Overnight tonight, we're going to continue to see those temperatures drop just into the 50s, so we are going to be above average overnight as well. And you can see on our storm team radar that we do have just some stray showers to the extreme southern counties right now. We're going to continue to see the potential of those as we head into the early evening hours. Here's a look at TrueCast, and that's just because we have some instability hanging around in the atmosphere for some of those southern counties from that cold front that passed throughout the day. Next, we have high pressure that's going to build in. That's going to clear out a lot of our cloud coverage throughout your Tuesday, and temperatures are going to climb into the 60s by tomorrow afternoon with dry and mild conditions. Chris.
Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen resigned and will leave the administration this week. She's stepping down as President Trump calls for tougher action on the Mexican border amid a surge in migrants coming into the United States. Corey Ringel with a look at what's next.
Despite reports the president forced her to resign, today, outgoing Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen says she still supports the president's efforts on the border.
I share the president's goal of securing the border. I will continue to support all efforts to address the humanitarian and security crisis on the border.
There are new reports President Trump wants to resume family separations at the border, but Nielsen resisted, which contributed to her being pushed out. Trump also became frustrated with Nielsen after the recent surge of migrants arriving at the Mexico border.
It's a reflection of anger and resentment and frustration with the fact that what they've been doing hasn't been working so far.
Cristobal Ramon is an immigration analyst with the Bipartisan Policy Center. He says Nielsen's replacement is likely to be someone who will take a harder line on immigration.
A harder line on deterrence policies, harder line on cooperation with Mexico and Central American countries. I think that that's really what they want right now.
President Trump says he wants Customs and Border Protection Commissioner Kevin McAleenan to serve as acting DHS secretary, but it's unlikely he'll be nominated as a permanent replacement. In Washington, D.C., I'm Corey Rangel reporting.
All right, Corey, thank you. Let's start the Now News feed with the number of measles cases continuing to go up. 100 more just last week, according to the CDC. And so far this year, there have been 465 cases in 19 states. That is the second most in the 2 decades since measles was declared eliminated. Well, a new study says that actually zapping people's brains could actually improve memory. Now, Boston University researchers said that zapping the brains of people over the age of 65 with mild electrical current improved a form of memory. Researchers say that some people's memory performed like people in their 20s. Well, good news here if you're in the housing market, because Fannie Mae says more people think now is the good time to buy and sell a house. Lower mortgage rates, a reason behind this. More people are also expecting to see interest rates to drop in the next year. Well, next in our lineup, there is a new proposal to directly regulate social media companies. It's raising the question if we should be quitting social media with all the concerns about it. We're going to get into that next here on The Now.
If you don't call,
you don't save.
Welcome back to the Now Indy on RTV6. Senator Bernie Sanders will make a stop in Indiana as part of his 2020 campaign for president. The official location and date have not been announced during other rallies in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania later this month. Sanders will focus on discussing U.S. trade, unions, and Medicare for all. That's according to his campaign. Sanders has been one of the front runners in a crowded Democratic field for the nomination since he announced his campaign in February. And the president will come to Indianapolis later this month to speak to members of the National Rifle Association. The NRA says President Trump will be in Indy on April 26th to address members of the NRA Institute for Legislative Leadership Forum. Now, the convention will take place at the Indiana Convention Center from April 26th to April 28th. Chris.
Today, the UK announced some new measures that are aimed at making social media safer. The goal is to protect people from harmful content online. So with this first-of-its-kind action, should we be reevaluating how we use it? Chris Welch was looking into it.
United Kingdom government officials say new rules would make the UK the safest place in the world to be online. According to a government release, Britain would appoint an independent regulator to enforce new standards.
I think if they're trying to regulate really salacious things like murders and killings and that kind of thing on social media, probably a good idea.
This comes on the heels of the New Zealand shooting that left 50 people dead and was streamed on Facebook Live. This weekend, former President Obama encouraged a group in Germany to find ways to improve the conversation on the internet and social media.
Social media that was once considered to be the network that would provide us greater understanding now suddenly appears to be a tool that is used to spread disinformation and hatred and suspicion.
The UK says the goal is to protect users from content that incites violence or is violent in nature, content that encourages suicide, disinformation, and cyberbullying. Not only could companies face fines, but they run the risk of having their platforms blocked or seeing their executives individually held liable. But if federal governments are going so far as regulating these platforms, is it time to reevaluate how we use things like Facebook ourselves, or whether we should continue to use them at all?
When it starts to interfere with your life, then that's the time you really want to begin to look at reducing your time on social media.
Sean Worthy, a clinical psychologist at Metropolitan State University, says like many things, social media has its pros and cons. But how can you tell if the cons are outweighing the pros?
Is it the primary focus of your time throughout your day? And does it distract you from doing other things that maybe you should be doing?
Worthy says if you do feel it's time to cut back, he suggests not going cold turkey, but rather slowly reducing the time you spend consuming social content. I'm Chris Welch reporting.
All right, Chris, thank you. And we got more in our lineup here. Fresh and raw pet foods, really kind of a new trend for pet owners. So we want to know if it's actually worth making the switch for your animal. Do the possible benefits outweigh the added cost that comes with it? We're going to get some answers coming up.
Keller and Keller.
Well, let's start the Now News feed with Stanford booting a student who used a fake sailing credential on her application to get into the school. All of this part of the college admissions scandal. And the Stanford student newspaper says that the sailing program, they happened to receive a $500,000 donation once she got in. The Stanford sailing coach was fired last month as part of that scandal. Well, take a look at this video here. A bus crashing into restaurants in New York City. This happened early yesterday morning. Police say a speeding car ran a red light, then just nailed this bus, sending it right into the building. Now, the driver has minor injuries, but no one else was on board the bus, and there were no customers in the restaurant. Well, the NCAA tournament, that comes to a finish this evening. It is Texas Tech versus Virginia for all the marbles. And if you're a Texas Tech student, pretty good deal, win or lose. The president of the school sending out this email to students letting them know that classes tomorrow are canceled already. Well, the cost of owning a car, that is not slowing down. That's according to Kelley Blue Book. On average, new car prices went up more than $800 over the last year. The average new car price is closer to $40,000. Even used cars average more than $20,000 with payments around $400 a month now. Now, it is important to take a hard look